We're on.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I know this is Wednesday before Thanksgiving week, so you guys are probably pretty excited to get out of here. So we'll make this as painless as possible. I think we've all met, but I'm Steve Morse, so I'm a teacher on special assignment, and this is my 27th year teaching. So I've been in the classroom for 25 of those years. 11 was at Franklin, so I taught 3rd, 4th, and 6th grade. And then I went to Earhart, and so the last 15 years I was teaching at Earhart. Not necessarily Chelsea, but Chelsea was there when I was there. Okay. And then I saw Chelsea again when I was teaching a class at Cal Baptist. So then I felt really old. Okay. So we're just going to talk a little bit about choice boards, what they are, what maybe they might not be, those kinds of things. So let's see this is new technology. Okay. I know some of you probably thought he looked real familiar. So I've been stopped in airports and at restaurants. And they go, you look like, I know, Brad Pitt. And then I was on a middle school campus. So I was walking to my room. And so as I was walking, there was a group of boys right here. And they go, finger licking good. And I was like, that was a little creepy. You kids be saying those kinds of things to me. Oh, okay. Basically, on a playlist or a choice board, the main thing is to be able to leverage your time. I know the biggest thing for me, I wanted to work in small groups, but I was wondering what the other 30 were going to do while I was working with that small group. And so what I came up with is a choice board and a playlist. If you go online, you'll find a ton of them. Okay? So the one that I wanted to work on is I saw a lot of choice boards, but I didn't see a lot of choice boards that used DOK levels as the way to put it on the choice board. Okay? A lot of them just had activities and things on there, and you just click and do whatever one you wanted. Okay? Oh, whoops. Here we go. Okay. So, you guys, I better go back. Because this might come in handy if you had the link to this presentation. There it is. So it's this guy right here. And the first one that can figure out whether that's a capital I, a 1, or a lowercase l, then you get some of Dean's candy. Oh my gosh. Surprise, Dean. And if someone finds out what it is, let me know.
It's not an L. I. Yeah. I can't get into it. Oh, it's a
Lowercase l? Woohoo. Were you guys able to get it?
Yeah, sorry, my glasses just not.
3L8 YZE. Okay, so while you guys are all trying to get there, a little bit about the blended learning. It's just elementary. You guys are on this. You're like the experts on stations. You go to middle school, high school, it's like a whole new ball game. They're like, station? Okay, but a couple of them, you guys, as Christian and I have gone through, some of you are doing station rotations where there's a certain amount of time that they're going to be at that station, and then they all get up, and then they move to the next one. Okay? You guys don't have to worry about a lab rotation model. That's if you did have a computer lab, that would be one rotation is going over to the lab. Flex model, I see some of you actually here using the flex model. Flex model is there's not any time constraint. So you might have to work with a group and you're going, this one's going to take a long time. So you work with them for whatever amount of time you need, and the rest of the kids could be flexing on their own, saying, I finished this, so I'm going to go over here now and work on this. Okay? So that's called the flex model. Okay, choice boards. Choice boards is a lot of what I've seen here. So here's what I want you to do in your little groups that you guys have is right here, look at those 3 choice boards and then look at them, see what differences are, and then when we're all done, when you guys are done, then I want you, we'll come back and we'll talk about each one of those. Okay? So you got choice board 1, 2, and 3. Were you guys able to get it? Oh, there. Oh, it didn't come up for you?
Did you do I or L? Is it?
It's a L, a lowercase L.
It's right.
And that didn't work?
Kimberly, what's the Google, so it's,
3.
3L, 8Y, and the Y is capital, and the Z
The concept.
is capital, and the little,
The L is lowercase, right? The L.
Yeah.
the L is lowercase.
Lowercase.
Capital Y, capital Z, and lowercase e.
Did you create these
Choice boards?
boards?
Yeah. They're 7th grade.
Are they in use right now?
Yeah, some of them are.
And how are they working?
I've had one, let's see, who was it? Gage. She was using it. So kids are liking it, just for that voice and choice part. So that part's great. So the bad part that I don't like about being TOSA is I'm not in the classroom
To see it work.
to see it. I mean, but then on the other hand, I'm having time to put those kinds of, so it's kind of like.
Have you been able to elementary yet?
I worked with Christy Dunn
Yeah.
at Hawthorne on a 6th grade one. And then she made one, on here I linked hers on there so you guys can see what an elementary one looks like. Then we're looking at making a TK choice board. And it's going to just be graphics.
Yeah. Right.
And then when they choose one, then it'll be a video that'll explain what to do at that station. So they won't have to read anything, but
Yeah.
verbally they'll be able to hear.
That's cute.
So
Because I would love something like this, like on the math guide.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's a long shot, but if it was already made and then it's
there's a difference with each one.
Kids to do it, yeah.
If you look at all 3, each one is different.
This first one is, I can join this when I'm working on this project, it's just all there. Okay, just want to make sure.
reinventing the wheel every year as a teacher in every
So
school.
I'm trying to say, here's the word, if you want, you can totally use it and use it just like, nice.
Or is that it?
Try it.
Good, thank you.
So I'm gonna run it by Steve later, see what he says.
You guys need some more time?
This is choice one, two, three.
Yeah, but I think the activities.
Do list, that's what it seems like, but maybe that's what we're doing.
So the choice word is
Oh. Read the directions.
Could be subtle.
This one.
Yeah, between choice board one, choice board
Starts
two,
at the top, and
directions.
work your way down the list. Yeah, this is the list.
Okay.
So.
Do they have to finish the whole year as well?
See here, you have to do all of them. The first one, you take that to
So then it's a choice of the order you have to take it out, just you have to follow. Then we get choices by choosing which ones you want to do, because kind of that's for you.
right, depending on the rigor, I mean,
Yeah.
he'll probably show you.
This isn't really a choice, this is just the list, this is where you're at. That's right at the bottom of the grade.
Right, so.
Okay. I won't interrupt any conversations here. You guys sound like some of you were seeing those little differences. Let's go with number 3. Would this be a choice board?
No.
You're right. It's on a board. Okay. But the kids basically, they have to do the warm-ups. Once they do the warm-ups, then they'd have to read. If they finish that, then they would have to continue working on their mission project. And then from there, if they make it, they could work on MobiMax. Okay? So that's really good. That one is not a choice board. Okay? So let's look at getting smaller fingers. Okay. Here we go. Let's go with this one. Okay. How about this one? This was number 2, I believe. You see any difference between this one and that first one? Not the agenda one. The directions. What was it about the directions?
Well, one said you had to turn in everything, and then the other one said you could make tic-tac-toe, so you could do 3 in a row.
Okay. All right. Now, you guys are on it. This one here, we could call this one a choice board because a lot of people will call it a choice board because it's a board and there's choices. This one here is basically like when we talk about personalized learning, we talk about voice and choice. This one is more choice. What you're telling the kids is this. Hey, you're going to do all of these, but I'm giving you the choice of which one you want to do first. And then which one you want to do second, third, and fourth. But everybody in class is going to do all of these. Okay? Now, if we go to the first one, this one, okay? Now, what's the difference again about this one as opposed to the other one?
Well, you only have to do 3, so you truly do get a choice.
Yeah.
And you have a voice.
There it is. They get the voice part. The other one you're saying, you're telling them, you're doing all of these, you choose. This one you're saying, hey, choose, and then the voice part is, you find the activity that works for your style. And that'll help you
Key
learn.
is finding the activity.
Right. Okay. So this one, this would be a true choice board. The other one is almost like a task board. Because everyone's going to do it, you just get to choose when you're going to do it. Okay? Like my wife, she doesn't really give me a choice board. It's more of a task board. Honey, you choose anything on there you want to do, but you're going to do all of them. All right? And so she took away my voice on those. I just get to do the choice part. Okay? All right. So this one here, a choice board, here's basically what it has on it. One, you'd have a title, okay? Two, you could have your essential question or the standard that you're going to be working on. Kids know what it is that whole board's going to be about. And then directions. Now, on mine, I said you had to do tic-tac-toe, okay? Now, I told them they had to go through the center. Why would I have to, everybody has to go through the center? Because I'm taking a little bit of the choice away, or their voice away. Why is that?
Well, apparently the teacher wanted everybody to complete that activity.
That's one reason? Yeah. Now, remember at the very beginning, I said I based all the activities on DOKs? What do you...
can control that.
Yeah, so what do you think the middle one's going to be? What level?
Well, this looks like a 4, or 3 or 4.
Yes.
From what you have on
Yeah. So the middle one is a 3 and 4. So, like, when we go around looking for rigor at the other schools, that one of the things that we see is we see a lot of 1s and 2s. I will tell you, in my classroom, I thought all I was doing was DOK 3s, but really they were DOKs 1s plus a DOK 2. It made a 3. All right? So they weren't very high level. And then when I started looking at this, I was like, oh, man, I see what I was doing. Okay? So the middle one is going to be your highest level. And so it's forcing all the kids, if you want to take 2 DOK 1s somewhere on your board, that's fine, but you're still going to have to do a higher level one also. Okay? So we have that. There's 9 activities. I did make an example of like a 5x5. That's a lot of activities. So I won't do a 5x5 anymore. Okay. I also put a template there for you. If we just take a look at it real quick. Those where I put those levels, that doesn't necessarily mean that's where you have to put them. It's just that the one in the middle should be your highest one. Okay?
Steve, is there an option if the student feels like they've already mastered whatever this standard, this topic is, that they can not have to do all of it or like skip ahead? Like an assessment?
Now here's what, and I'll probably get more into that on a playlist.
Okay.
But what I would do is, you know your classes. So if you know you have those kids in there that, why am I going to make you fill in a chart? If you already know that information and know how to do it, I would put, like I only have one DOK 3 right there. I think I might put another one so that the high guy in your class could do 2 DOK 3s with a DOK 4 in the middle. That's the nice part about the choice board is if you strategically place your DOKs in there, so you can have those kids that are higher level pick that higher tic-tac-toe. Also, if you noticed, I don't have, like, a lot of DOK 2s, like you could have 2 DOK 2s there and a DOK 3 in the middle. If you want, you could have put a DOK 1 in the corner there so you could have that. Here's the thing, is the nice part about the choice board is you can arrange it in such a way every kid in your class could be successful. Okay, so the lower kids, there's a path for them to take. The higher guys in your class, there's a path for them to take. So you can just be real strategic. The other thing you could do, now they did this at a high school. Now this one I made for my 7th grade class. Okay, but at Arlington, they made a playboard for their Math 1 class, and it was surprising. She was having a hard time working with small groups, and she's like, the rest of the class would be on their phones doing whatever. And then she goes, I'm going to try one of these choice boards. So she made a choice board, and what she ended up doing was saying, hey, if you get one tic-tac-toe, you get some kind of incentive. If you do 2 tic-tac-toes, I don't care which ones you do, then you get another incentive. And then she said, and if you do blackout, you get some other incentive. So those kids, and she said she had kids coming up to them like, I got one already. And then they were showing, and then they go back, hey, I got another one. And they were actually really jazzed about trying to get tic-tac-toe in high school. All right? The other thing to do on this is just say, pick 3, but one has to be in the middle. Okay? So if they don't want to, and they go around, they look at all the different activities, and they say, I like this one, and I'll take the middle. So then they get a choice of every activity that's on there to choose from. Okay?
Does the teacher score it to approve that they put an X or no, or whatever, that they finished that square? How does the student know?
Okay. I got Dean here for a reason. No.
Down on the bottom it says submit your work and it gave
Right.
them a link.
I saw that.
So here's how that works.
Scored it.
Okay. Dean, you can tell I'm not very
Sorry, yeah.
good at the finger part
You
of
can
this.
actually make it larger if you want the screen larger. If you
Okay. Now, couple of things you did. So let's say you have all your activities up there. All of my activities are linked. And the reason for that is, how many of you have been in a small group, you got your mojo going, the kids are involved, and then you look up and you got 10 kids standing right here waiting to talk to you. You're like, oh, please, child, have a seat, man. I got all this stuff going on. And it's like, I don't have that paper to do that one. And then the other one, I don't have the paper to do. It's like, that's how come I linked them all. So now all they have to do is go and all they have to do is, let's see if I can do it on your single-handed.
it still shows up if you do it on the so you're good either way.
Okay, so each one of these are linked. So like this one right here, I put it on a Google Doc. And so what it does,
You have downloaded it at the bottom.
oh, did it put it down at the bottom?
Yeah.
Oh, as a Word doc?
No, it's a Google Doc, but it drops
Oh.
it down at the bottom.
Well, you guys got the link. So, but what I did was I've tried to put everything either on a Google Doc, a website, or something, and have a doc on there that gave the precise directions of what to do. So they didn't need to have you there. They could be responsible for their own learning by following the directions that you gave. Which means, in my case, I had to write really good directions, which wasn't my strong suit. Okay? And then once they did that, how are we doing then?
Okay.
Okay, so let's go. Oh. So here's what else I did, is at the bottom I put links to helpful videos. So if I'm not there and they forgot how to calculate tips, they could go right there and watch a YouTube video and show them how to calculate tips. So I tried to do everything I could to keep them self-contained. So they would be able to just do it on their own right there. Then, right over there where it says turn in work here, what that does, it's just a Google form. And what they would do is they would take the link to their 3 things that they did and put it on the Google link here, the Google form. And so on this one, okay. And so what that does for you, how many of you have used Google Forms? A couple of you have. It's awesome. It gives you a nice spreadsheet. And so what it does is it gives you every kid's name, You can alphabetize it after they turned them all in. And then it gives you an active link to each of their assignments that they did. So when you go to grade them, you just click on it, see what they did. You can, if you have them, learn to share it with you on here with comments, not just view. Then you can actually just type your comments right on the doc. It'll send it right back to them so they can see your feedback. Okay? So that's one way to gather up all their work. And have it all in one place. So you have all 3 assignments in one place. Any comments? Questions? Next time, Steve, learn how to use your technology. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, I want to show you, this was a 4th grade one, a math one, that I was helping Christy Dunn do, but she really did all the work. Those of you that have the book or gone to the link, HyperDocs, this is one of them on there. So she made it into like a game board, has the rules and everything in the middle right there. And then she had the links to everything. And then on hers, if you just scroll down, I'm not very good at your scrolling, huh? Then what they would do is put their evidence at the bottom of the document, okay, of what they did. Now, if I was to do that one over again, not hers, but mine, the percent one, if I was to do it over, I would add more collaborative activities on there. Because the ones that I have were basically just individual ones. So I would do that. You can also have them use manipulatives. And what I do is, you guys probably don't have phones, the kids, well, some of them do. Yeah. You could also, on the Chromebooks, just take it over, and they could take a picture of whatever they did on the desk. And then now you got a link. So they put that link on there, and they send it to you, and you can actually see what they did with the manipulatives. So it doesn't have to all be technology-based. You can give the directions on a Google Doc, but it tells them they have to use the counters or whatever it is to show you that they know the work. Okay. Now, and then there's a 6th grade one. I don't know if I linked that one, but I'll double check, get that for you. Okay. Now, I don't know if any of you used the playlist. Some of you have. Okay. All right. Same kind of thing, but I will just go right to the example because it's easier to talk about. Okay. Now, a playlist might take a little bit more work to get. If I was to start, I'd probably start with choice boards. Get the kids making choices and making the right choices. And you know, when you first start, just like anything else, you have to kind of guide them along. But on this one, the playlist, this one was it was a 7th grade one. So the directions on this one is different. It's like you have to accumulate 15 points. And then I tell you, I don't care how you do it. But when you're done, you have to have 15 points. Okay? Again, it's all based on DOK levels. So the points, it was real simple. I'm a simple man. So the points are, if it's a DOK 1, you got a point. And then you got a 2. And then there was a formative assessment that kind of just checks, see where they're at. So they go, oh, I did the ones that I want. You go, all right. Then they take that. And if they did a good job with it, then it's like, great, man. Find something else to do now. Move on down. Okay. So those are 1s and 2s. And then the next one would be DOK 3s. And so we had these. And you guys could do this. This is one I just made up. I said the answer is, and so what it was is, so I already told him the answer. I said the answer is $2.01. And then it's like, I don't know what the question is, but I do know the answer is $2.01. And so what the kids would have to do is scroll down and type their answer on there as to what is the question that answers. Now, at first you might think, well, that's pretty easy. Some kid's going to go $2.02 minus a penny. Now I got my answer. But for this one, it had to involve sales tax, discount, commission, or tips. So whatever the problem was, it had to deal with tips. So now it's a lot trickier because you're not subtracting, now you're doing some multiplying. And you're doing some decimals. Okay? But you could bring that one way down to whatever level you're working on and just have the kids and just say, hey, there's the answer. And then once they come up with the question, then they had to write the story that went with that question and the answer. Okay? So that is actually a DOK 3. Okay. And then a DOK 4 be right there. Now, here's the thing with this one. Is probably one of my problems that I would have in the classroom in elementary and in middle school was this. You have those couple of kids that are the silent kids, like they don't cause you any problems. They do their whatever work, their C work or 3 work, whatever it is. They're just like, you almost forget about them because they're not causing any problems. And so what I did on the playlist is I actually put a box on there where they have to see me a certain number of times. So I could say, before we're done with this little unit right here, you have to see me 3 times. And so then it might be, I might call them up in a small group, say you guys are going to meet with me today. So that'd be their one time. But it might just be that one guy, you say, he signs up and he says, hey, I want to see you today. And you're like, oh, okay. So he comes up and he's just showing me all that he's done so far. And I'm like, you're good. So 45 seconds, our little conference is done. He's on his way. He keeps working. But at least made me check out every single one of my kids. And that was the thing that I was always missing. It's like I always would work with the low guys, but I forget about my middle guys. Okay? Same kind of thing here. They would turn in their work on a Google Doc, and then I'd always put the videos on there in case they didn't understand it. Okay? So that one there, that's a playlist. Little difference, not tic-tac-toe or anything like that, but they're accumulating points. And if you do every single one of the DOK 1s and 2s, anybody know how many points that would have been?
Less than 15, probably.
Yeah. That's right, class. It was 12. Yeah. So 12 points, so now you're still 3 points away, which means then they have to do a DOK 3 activity. Those guys that, like I think you were talking about, Dean, this is where I was kind of going with that. What about the guy you're saying, hey, the guy knows the math? To fill in a worksheet or fill in a chart or do some calculations, he's beyond that. Well, this one allows them to then just work off of 3s and 4s. And you say, hey, you're good. Just work on that. And so he gets his 15 points in a lot different way than maybe some of your lower guys. So that's one way to handle that and let those guys work at their level while personalizing it for the other guys too.
Are these weekly playlist, correct? Weekly or
No.
monthly?
No, that, because those of you that have done a choice board, who's done a choice board? It takes a little bit of time, huh?
Put together.
Yeah.
No, I mean, no, I'm talking about student-wise. I'm talking
Student-wise-
about student-wise completion would be a week.
That one there, it was pretty long when
Like
we
they
did it.
would
That was
be
like a week
done
and
in
a
about
half,
a
2
week.
weeks.
Okay, that's what I'm
Okay.
Yeah, not
And they were
the
talking
teachers,
middle
but the
school.
student, yeah.
Here's the thing I would tell, because it does take time, and we know being in the classroom, time is not what we have a ton of. Here's the thing, either with the choice board or the playlist is you're front-loading all of your work the week before putting it all together. But for the next week, week and a half, 2 weeks, however long you have yours, your lesson plan is already done. That's it. So now all you have to worry about is, okay, I'm going to meet with this group. What do I need to get together so I can meet their needs? And so it takes a little bit of that pressure off of every day trying to get your whole lessons together for the next day and things like that. Where this one, you're just looking at 3 or 4 kids that you're going to be working with. What do I need to get for those guys and work with them? Okay, that's a good question there. Any others? Okay, probably the biggest thing for me, like I told you, I thought I was doing DOK 3s, but really they were DOK 1s and 2s put together. So let's go back to this first. The main thing about a choice board, playlist, interactive playlist, is to give the kids a voice and a choice in what they want to learn that day. Okay? The hardest part is not hard for elementary teachers as it is for secondary teachers, but it's giving up some control. Okay? Like, they're picking. Okay? And then that person was, that's kind of true. That's tough. It's like, oh, I don't want him to pick that. Oh, he picked that one. Okay? And so we have, you guys are kind of helping those of us that are in secondary. Because by using choice boards and playlists, you guys are on that training ground, working with the kids and helping them make the right choices, so when they do get to middle school, high school, we have kids that can make great choices. Unfortunately, there isn't anyone below you guys to kind of do that for you, other than each grade level is doing that. So we appreciate it, being in middle school, all the work that you guys put in. So we can go straight to this because the kids already know how to do it. So secondary, we're blessed to have guys like you in the trenches, getting them ready and doing this stuff. Okay. So that's one thing I want to say. It's just giving up a little bit of that control. Okay. You could do that later at another time if you want. A couple of things on here I think that are really kind of great resources. This Webb's DOK, and it's further down the presentation. This right here, what I did is I printed it out, stapled it, and when I make my choice boards, I have this guy right next to me, because the really cool part is this down here. And let's see, here we go. Okay, so what this whole document does is takes all the DOK levels 1, 2, 3, and 4 and breaks it down for you. And it says, hey, these are possible products that kids could do to be a DOK 1 type of activity. Here's activities that they could do down here. Make a timeline, make a chart, recite facts, those kinds of things. It really kind of helps you when you're putting it all together, instead of just sitting there going, oh, geez, man, is that a 1 or 2 or 3 or 4? I don't know. Okay, usually we can tell a 1 and we can tell a 4. It's those 2s and 3s that get kind of wonky on us. But that document there will break down every level for you. Okay, so that's a great one to have when you put together your list. And then the other one Let's see. Oh, this is that fraction one. For 6th grade, we have 6th grade in here. Here's a one for fractions. That's on there if you want to use it. Hawthorne made it. A great one to have. Okay. Here's another one, just a little flow chart to tell whether or not it's a DOK 1, 2, 3, or 4. If you just want like a flow chart, that flow chart there is really kind of cool to help you out. Okay. Now, any questions that you guys have? Comments? Anything? Okay. To wrap it up, a choice board. The difference between a choice board and a task board is really the voice part. On both of them, they get choices. Like they can choose when to do it, when not to do it, you know, which ones they want to do in what order. And then the choice board gives them the voice saying, I don't have to do all of these. I'm going to pick the ones that work for me. Okay? All right, did I get you out? It's not 2:30, right? Is it 2:30? Oh, sweet. All right. Yeah, you bet. If you have any questions, anything like that, you're more than welcome just to email me or ask me.